How many assistants do you have to take care of yourself?
I don't think this conversation is going in the right direction.
No, it doesn't matter.
I take care of myself.
You don't lie on the beginning of the conversation. We're going to have time here. I am Eric Ripert, the chef of Le Bernardin, married to Sandra, proud of being a father of a great son.
Adrian is great. I'm Chef José Andrés, and I cook for a living. One-on-one at CNN. Who is the first one? You or me? Are you the one or I'm the one?
You have to be the one.
You're the first one, I'm the second one.
You try to confuse me here.
Do you remember?
Doesn't matter.
First time we met?
I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
No.
But we should remember.
Well, when did you come to Washington, D.C.?
1993.
Oh, that was late.
Jean-Louis Paladin was there, the great French chef, no longer with us, at the Watergate.
My mentor.
You were with him?
One of my mentors.
You were with him in the Watergate?
Yes.
What year was that?
1989.
So we were there. Our spirits were following each other. Okay, so we know each other for almost 30 years.
Yes.
But we became very, 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 very close. Anthony Bourdain was very important in bringing us together.
For us, yes. We were a trio.
But before we were a trio, you were a duo. I met Anthony on my own. Obviously, you met Anthony on your own. But but Tony had even more to do in you and I becoming even
for sure
stronger in so many ways. For us in the friendship, yes, I remember the moment because we went through it together. We spoke a lot about it. You were already opening a restaurant in Washington. You were thinking about opening a restaurant in Philly.
Yes.
You had offers to open other restaurants. And one day I remember that moment that almost you were calling me to tell me, I'm not doing more restaurants and
I'm closing the
and
ones
I'm closing. Do you want it? And I'm like, really? And you went to concentrate in your Le Bernardin, and me, I kept opening.
Yes.
And opening more restaurants. And this was kind of fascinating as friends and chefs that we...
For sure. My life is simple. I have a family, I have one restaurant in New York, one in Cayman Island. Your life is a bit more complicated. You have what, 40 restaurants? Do you know how many restaurants do you have or not?
More or less, yeah.
How many do you have?
40 something, yeah.
Do you still go to the kitchen?
I am.
With 40 restaurants?
Well, more
or less. But
what happened is, when I go to my kitchens and I feel like I'm a foreigner, like I don't belong.
No, no way.
Let me tell you why. I have restaurants, they've been open, I opened them, many of them, I opened them. And I have people there, they've been working with me for almost 33 years.
Yeah.
And sometimes you go to the kitchen, even if it's not my kitchen, it's their kitchen too, it's our kitchen.
That's the big difference with me.
And they made it their own. It's their kitchen. And I go there,
I feel
and
different.
it's people I don't recognize. But they are the ones making it happen. And without them...
Of course.
Because it's a lot of restaurants, it's a lot of people. People come and go. But that's the beauty of a kitchen, right? A kitchen at the end of the day, a restaurant, is this whole bunch of people that they can be anywhere, but they decide to be part of that.
To be with you. Or with me.
To be with you.
Yeah.
And we need to be very thankful of that moment, right?
No, of course. But for me, it's very different. I know the name of every cook, every employee, from the dishwasher to the waiter. So that gives me tremendous confidence and comfort and support. I tried to do what you have done, developing, and I was really bad at it. I was stressing. It was not a source of joy for me. It was not anything positive. It was kind of messing up with my life and my routine. So I stopped doing that, and I came back to the source. And that's why we are so different, you and I, because I would love to be able to do what you have done and what you are doing today.
And I would love to do...
Why don't we change?
What you've done.
You want to do that? You come to Le Bernardin one day, and you take ownership of the restaurant or the kitchen, and I go and I try to do what you do. And I mean, after 4 or 5 hours, I'm coming back, guarantee. I don't want to stay there. What will happen if we switch job for a day? Like you become...
Oh my God, my team will be so happy. My team will be so proud. The best human resource decision I made in my life. They will love you, and probably, I have no doubt, you will make my company better.
If we trade jobs, I give them a day off. Let's put it this way.
Oh, thank you. Great.
Finally.
Great. This is the Buddhism in you. That's because meditation.
Thank you for not serving me.
My wife tells me, don't get people drunk. Are we the only ones drinking in a one-on-one at CNN?
I guess so.
Let's look about you.
Yeah.
You got 3-star Michelin, I don't know for how many years. When everybody talks about perfection, Eric Ripert, Le Bernardin is always up there. And you have to live with this because the only thing can happen in your life that you can only go down. Why? Because you are at the top of your profession. And you seem always so calm, but I know that to keep that perfection, it's so much work behind. People don't realize that.
But I have a routine. I wake up early at 5:30 a.m. I'm up. I drink my coffee. I meditate. I go to Le Bernardin. I go to the office. I say hello to everybody. I go to the kitchen. I try all the sauce. Because I'm focused on those things, I don't think about the press or the awards or the business aspect that has nothing to do with being the chef of Le Bernardin, with the responsibilities that I have. Of course, José, like you, the business has to be sustainable. But for me, it's simple. It goes to Le Bernardin. For you, it's so many different things because you are unstoppable in a good way, José, in a very good way.
You and I, we cannot be more different one from each other in a way. I cannot believe we're such a
You are
good
the
friends.
opposite.
You are my role model. You are all the things you describe. You're right. The method you have to go through life, I think, is what I sense in your food. Like when I see a dish of yours, when I eat a fish of yours, it feels almost like the fish has been kissed. It's been like loved. And to me, this is what is fantastic. That the way you live your life, obviously, is even represented, and I can sense it in the dishes you put in front of the people.
Thank you.
The popular belief is that chefs, we blow off very quickly and very fast, which is like, I would say like we are like anybody else. But it's true that kitchens can be very intense in certain moments.
For sure.
Sometimes not everything goes smooth.
It's a very big engine.
In the old days, you used to blow off?
Oh, yes.
And how is the Eric of 20, 30 years ago to the Eric of today?
That Eric doesn't exist anymore. I have a natural temper. I can flip like that very easily. And I was also misguided by the attitude of some of my mentors. And I thought that...
The old kitchen ways.
The old kitchen ways, which was humiliating the cooks, breaking them psychologically, to supposedly rebuild them as champions. And as you know, so many talented people were lost in the process. When I became a chef for the first time, instead of saying, hey, I learned my lessons, I'm not going to do that, I had tantrums in the kitchen. I was not physical because it's not me, but I was throwing plates on the floor. And I was very unhappy in my life. The team was miserable, as you can imagine. But I had that moment one night in a sofa at home. I was looking at the ceiling like that, and I was like, why? What's happening? And I realized it was all my fault. Intimidating and scaring the staff. Instead of blossoming, they were like shrinking, and most of them were leaving anyway. So from that day, when I had that moment, I totally changed.
When was that moment? Do you remember the moment?
Yeah, of course I remember. It was in 1995. I was reading some books from the Dalai Lama because I was interested. He just received a few years before the Nobel Prize for Peace. I was inspired by the Tibetan cause, and I was inspired also by people who meditate, and I was like, maybe meditation could be good for me. I needed to find a direction. It could have been no religion at all, but someone who's a mentor. But for me, it was Buddhism. And Buddhism became my basically lighthouse and helped me to change. And it's very difficult to change. I changed quite fast, but then I had trained people around myself that were following the old directions. I had to explain to them, hey guys, we were wrong yesterday. We have to change. It took a long time. But I never regretted, of course, this moment. It changed my life for the best.
I grew up in that environment too at times. I used to work in a summer restaurant that for the chefs to say that something was wrong, he will throw me the pen in the back of my head, and was not right. But at the same time, I have a feeling like if I quit, I'm not going to be protecting the other guys. But yes, these kind of tantrums, sometimes you will realize that you were becoming what you were seeing.
Yeah.
And this was kind of at times almost your excuse. I had the same relationship, unfortunately, with my mother, who was a wonderful woman, but she was very tough in the way she treated us and the way she will use the brooms and other things. And for me, something I've always had with me. And
it hurt you.
So in the kitchen early on, I could be that kind of intense.
Yeah.
And then one day you realize that we always excuse ourselves, so we use that as a shield to explain ourselves. And at the end is one moment when they are not there any longer. You are like, but I cannot shield myself behind the behaviors of the people before me.
No.
It's up to me precisely not to become them. And it's also very important to have people around you that they are honest with you.
For sure.
When in any moment your behavior can go over a line that we know nobody should be crossing. It's important to have those people around you.
Of course.
People that immediately speak truth to you.
Yes.
Because we are only as good as the people we have around us. But it starts by you taking your own responsibility and at times listening to the hard truth when somebody is telling you very clearly, hey,
yes,
you can be always the better version of yourself. You said before that you meditate. And I said that I'm connecting the way you live your life with this peacefulness that you are able always to spread around you. And I'm a Christian Catholic boy, and I've been learning, and you've been sharing that you go to faraway places to visit monks and Buddha and Buddhism. And this is a very important part of who you are.
For me, it is, yes.
These trips that you go that I'm so jealous that you never take me with you, and I understand why. Because you go to look for calm, and I only will bring you earthquakes. Explain to me how this part is within your life, because it's a very important one. You inspire calm.
So meditation is something that has no affiliation with any religion, although every religion practices meditation. But it's like going to the gym, but instead of your muscles, it's for your brain. And you are the boss. The brain is not the boss any longer. You're not in the past, you're not in the future, you're right here, right now. So for me, the meditation, it's a way to start the day and to level myself. What is amazing to me is that, and I'm not kissing your ass here, I don't care. You do so many different things and it looks like you are like the Tasmanian devil. And you do it well because you're a very good cook. That's for you, actually, it's a meditation. It's when you are really absorbed in the present.
Cooking for family and friends.
Yes. And you love that and you put all your love in it and all your passion and knowledge and you're unstoppable when you're starting to cook. So that's for you is very relaxing. But then how do you manage to do all those things that you are involved with?
Obviously, thank you for comparing me to the Tasmanian devil because it's almost extinct. So I don't know if this is...
I'm talking about the cartoonish one.
I know, but they were alive.
We were in Cayman Island once.
Yeah.
And you remember what happened in Haiti?
2010.
It inspired you to go there and help. And then you created this amazing organization, World Central Kitchen. It takes so much energy from you. And you lobby for it. And you, at the same time, take care of your businesses. I don't know how you can do all those things. And then you are in a comic now with Superman or whoever it is, I don't know.
I find my peace in other ways.
So how do you find your peace?
Well, you and I, we find the peace when we are together in a beach and smoking a cigar and walking for 1 hour.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite moments.
Me too.
And my wife or your wife comes with us.
When you scuba dive too.
But I love those moments with you. But what you're describing, I think, obviously, my wife has been this source for me of peace. I don't know what my life will be like if I had that person next to me. She tries to make me disciplined about life. And quite frankly, as I grow older, the more I realize how lucky I've been of having her in my life.
I have many discussions with you, and you just come back from the front line in Ukraine, or you have a huge crisis in Gaza. How do you do that? I mean, are you tired at the end of the day? Are you in control of everything? It's the fact that you have successful restaurants, great teams, very precise work that you do everywhere. To me, it's a mystery because I can't do it. I can't do it.
In my restaurants, I feed the few. I want my restaurants to run well. It's my art, it's my craft. But also I see that this same talent, you can feed the many. And for me, knowing that our profession, we can go to different emergencies and very quick adapt and take care in the thousands or in the millions. So for me, going achieves in me this moment of peace that if not, I'm gonna be very uncomfortable. I say Katrina, I saw the Superdome, forget all New Orleans. How we left 20,000 Americans without food and water for so long. And I think that's why in 2010, when Anthony Bourdain and you and I, we were together and that earthquake happened, and I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna be thinking what I could do. I'm gonna go in real time, boots on the ground to see how can I be part of whatever response.
So you take the time to think about it, because it looks like you are doing a lot of things at the same time.
In a fire, you send firefighters. In an earthquake, you send search and rescue teams.
Yeah.
If you have to feed people, who are the best people to feed humanity? Cooks like us. That was a very simple idea, understanding that everybody wants to help. And the only thing you have to do is just light a little fire.
So your level of compassion and empathy, it's very, it's your instinct is very strong, right?
But it gets deeper than that. Sometimes I have a feeling we all need this moment of feeling that there are more angels than demons, but seems the demons are the ones that have the bigger voice. I'm very selfish in a way. I'm selfish because I need to feel that there is goodness in the world, even in moments that only looks mayhem and chaos.
Yeah.
And when I go to these moments, in the worst moments of humanity, the best of humanity shows up. And I'm right there watching it.
You're not watching it, you're part of it.
Yeah, but I'm watching it because I'm one person. When I see people leaving everything aside, just helping people, this gives me internal peace, but also give me energy to keep going.
At the same time.
Some people thank me because they say, you are the one giving. No. I receive million times more than I am able to give. I come back from those missions tired.
Yes, physically tired.
But
emotionally, right?
But very re-empowered.
I know that your heart is there and you want to help, but how do you create the systems? Because everything goes fast, I imagine, right? It's like an emergency. People are panicking, people are starving.
From lessons of the past, listen, across my restaurant Halle in Washington, D.C., they discovered a house, red brick mortar house, and was the house of somebody. That person was Clara Barton, Great Red Cross. If you think about it, she was a nurse like my mom. She took
Your mom was a nurse?
My mom was a nurse. Clara Barton, she took care of the few, but she created organizations to take care of the many. I've been searching, and in the process I've been changing about what is the perfect way to have an organizational chart that is efficient. And I have a feeling that you have to keep adapting and changing through this search that never ends for me. Organization seems, including restaurants, right? Somebody's at the very top and everybody's under, right?
Yes.
Pyramid-like.
Hierarchy.
The chef is the chef, or the GM is the GM, and everybody else is under. And I always thought that very often, and especially if you grow, that sometimes doesn't work too well. Because at the end you have people at the top, people at the bottom, people in between. And when you're at the very top, you feel very alone. Like you're at the top. You're in the top of the pyramid, and that can be a very lonely place. And then you have a lot of people underneath that sometimes what you think or what you communicate is not communicated well enough. And as the information comes down with the weight of gravity, can get lost or can be misunderstood. Well, because you didn't explain it well, or well, because the people are explaining it on your behalf, don't explain it as you meant to be.
Yes. So you don't believe in hierarchy and systems?
I've been learning...
Or you don't rely on hierarchy and systems?
I've been learning that the leadership is not because the title you have behind the door of your office.
That's for sure.
But because the work you do with the boots on the ground in the place, that things must happen. But if you create organizations that are slightly flatter in its creation, more people can participate in contributing to what may be the final decision making.
So you delegate a lot.
Well, myself,
to.
I have no other option, but I do believe that the future of organizations are not perfectly pyramidal because they are too structured.
Yes.
Maybe not totally flat because then can be also chaos.
Yes.
But a better mix in between both.
So flexible, a lot of flexibility, right? But you need a boss. You need someone who takes the burden of having the responsibility to make sure that everything is fine.
Yes, but the leader...
And that's you or it's me.
But the leader that sometimes
company.
knows when to lead by the front, but in the right moments knows how to lead from the back.
Totally. Yes.
And cannot be black and white, and you have to be adapting to the situation. Can be non-profits, can be for-profit. Families is the same.
Yeah, but you still are in control.
Correct.
With family, you're not in control.
Thank you.
No cigars.
Well, we are not allowed to smoke here. I mean, it's the fire department. I mean, did you hear the sirens? Give me a break. You know what? I'm very surprised that we are still friends.
Oh, really?
Because knowing who you are and knowing who I am, I will say, man, I'm going to move this guy away from my life. He only creates distortion in the force.
No, you are an amazing opportunity for me to practice. You know, like sometimes the frustration builds up because I try to call you, right? Or I send you a text message. As you know, you never answer. So
No. I answer psychically.
Mentally, yes.
Mentally. I am sending you my waves through the air, and I know you're receiving them.
So the waves are very aggressive, and thanks to my practice, I manage. No, but
we all need to have these people, the people we can talk to about things, random things. How many times even you say I never answer your phone that we speak about whatever, out of the blue?
Yeah.
And I'm asking you, I need your opinion, or you're asking me, I need yours.
For sure.
You know when for us was very important, even I didn't see you much, because we were all doing our things during the pandemic. You are the best restaurant in New York, one of the best in the world, and during the pandemic, your restaurant was helping feed shelters and hospitals all across the city.
You know why?
Well, why? Because you wanted to help.
No, because of you. You came with World Central Kitchen, and we were closed, and we had no jobs, and you came and you gave us the opportunity to make a difference. And then you supported us with the organization.
But you wanted to do it, which is different.
Of course we wanted to do it, but we didn't have the organization to do it. So that moment for me, it's a very important moment in my life, in our friendship.
But I was very proud of you because you didn't have to do it.
Of course
No, but I will not expect you to do it, but you decide to do it. Quite frankly, you're my friend, but because you're my friend, I'm not expecting everybody in the middle of an emergency to do the emergency work. No restaurant should feel that pressure, but you did it. And if anything,
I was very happy to do
I was
it.
more, that day probably sealed it for me, right? Because even if you didn't do it, you will be one, without a doubt, of my best friends. But something like that, then you were not only one of my best friends, you were something else. You were a person that I knew I can count on no matter what happens.
Well, that's friendship. I mean, that's
no,
love.
the friendship, you can count on your friends.
Real friendship is about love.
Now you said it.
My definition of love, it's to wish you to be happy and at the same time do everything that I can to make you happy.
And without expecting anything in
Nothing
return.
in return, of course. Do you have a hard time to accept gifts?
Yeah.
I have a hard time to take gifts like that because I really want to give back right away.
Well, we give cigars to each other.
Well, yes.
But you know what is the real gift? It's not the cigar itself.
No, it's the time we spend together. It's a great inspiration for me when we have those cigar moments. Because the cigar is an excuse, really, at the end of the day. We know it's going to take an hour to smoke. It's an hour in our life that we have together to speak about how we can change the world or not, speak about our families and anything, right?
But you know what I really like you, man? Because when I go, you are the only restaurant in New York. I cannot even do this in my house or in my restaurants. I go to your restaurant and I tell them, I don't want the fancy dish that Eric and his team has put. Can you send me the tray of sea urchin.
I know.
And you do it. And you sell me the tray of sea urchin in the most great restaurant for fish in the world.
We give you whatever you
and
want.
you let me go. You keep letting me go. Okay, I'm ready.
You still don't explain to me the way it works in your head.
I'm trying to figure out how it works in my head.
Because if I can learn that, you imagine, I will be Superman. Thank you very much.
Good producers.